Keith Hurd, Vice Chair of Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. This issue is really, and I want to piggyback on what Dirk Garrett said, it's about governance. We all have, as elected officials, charter schools in our districts. We are not against charter schools, but we are for local control of those charter schools. And that is the issue that we see as elected officials. The only issue really is that and the funding of these schools. And believe me, serving on appropriations, I see what happens when we have shortage of funding. I see what happens to these important issues in our state, such as education, healthcare, and other issues. But just to set the tone for the rest of my members that will follow me, we're not against charter schools, you all, but we are against those that take the power away from those duly elected school board members in our communities to make that decision. Thank you.
Roger Flood, State Representative and co-chair of the Working Families Caucus. So let's get to the point. Shall the Constitution of Georgia be amended to allow state or local approval of public charter schools under the present local communities? That's the ballot question. You know what the answer is? It's already available. The point of this ballot question is really far beyond what appears to be on the merit itself. Because right now, charter schools can be approved, charter schools have been approved, and many of them have been successful. So no one here is against charter schools. You know, you have to wonder when 94% of the funding to support the amendment to approve charter schools comes from out of the state. You have to wonder how much more money is going to move from the traditional public schools to these organizations that are coming from out of state. That's a lot of money. We've already underfunded public schools by $6 billion over the last 8 years. We have a tremendous opportunity and an obligation to ensure that public schools are adequately funded. And when we are looking at a scenario where we're taking money away from traditional public schools to fund a dual system, you have to wonder what's the end game. 94% of the funding to support charter schools is coming from outside the state. Let's spend the money here. Let's focus on making sure all children in all public schools get an adequate education, and that means making sure that they get funded. Thank you.
Rocky Bruce, State Representative, District 64. You know, everybody's pretty much said what can be said, but let's try to keep it simple. This amendment is not about charter schools. This amendment is about money.
All right.
Let's keep it simple. It's about money and who gets to spend it and who gets to pocket it. That's what it's about. This amendment is not about educating our children. It is about giving public money to private enterprise. It's about giving money to private enterprise, and it's about dismantling our public school system. The system that serves those that need the service the most. Let's call it what it is. Let's stop all the political shenanigans and lies. This is simple. We have a limited amount of money for education. And we have to just be for real about it. If we add another expense, an expense called profit, then that means there's less available to the children that need it. And it's more going, again, to private enterprise. This isn't rocket science. Rocket science. We have to take care of our kids, we have to educate our children, and we have to stop this piece of legislation from going through. Vote no.
For the record, I have voted not just once,
but I voted twice no on HB 1162. This is critical for us today, that we get to stop this nonsense going forward. What we need to do is make sure that we, of the people that we have elected locally, that we put our trust in them locally, that they have the say of what we need to do on education. It's not that I'm not against alternative ways of educating our children, but I'm against of having that power grab coming from the state capitol on appointed people that maybe don't know anything about what's happening at the local level. So again, I like what that says. A vote against this amendment is a vote for public schools. Un voto en contra de esta enmienda es un voto para nuestras escuelas públicas. Thank you very much.
I serve the 39th District, City of Atlanta, Fulton County. I will not repeat that which has already been said about the usurpation of local control by the state. I will not talk about how this constitutional amendment resegregates Georgia schools. I will not talk about how this is a money grab, taking money from public schools for what are, in essence, private schools. But I will talk about another aspect of the money. Anytime you see folks doing certain things, you need to follow the money. And if you follow the money here in this situation, you'll understand what's going on. During the legislative session, we were wondering why this had become such a furious fight. And we realized, we did a little research. We found in Florida that for-profit charter school management company had gotten involved there in a $400 million industry. And we found out that some of these companies owned real estate companies. And that the charter school management companies not only use state money to run the schools and make a profit, they also own the real estate where the schools were at. So they were, what? Double dipping, in fact. And we found out that these charter school companies gave contributions to politicians who supported the charter school scam. So we're here today to tell you that we understand that this is about money. We understand, you know, and we see this right-wing Walton money being injected into this campaign on the other side, and we don't care about that. The Teach Block had $8 million. That's right. And we beat that. If we're going to do the same thing here. So after all is said and done, we're going to have to do what? Get in the streets. That's right. Knock on some doors. And do the things, go to our churches, go to our block club. And get this message out that we have to vote no on the Bill 6. Vote no for our children. And fight for public schools. Thank you very much.
My name is David Wilkerson, and I am a state representative from Cobb County. I'm serving my first term. I come here not only as a legislator, but I come here as the only state representative for a state senator in Cobb County that's filled with public school system. All right. As my colleagues have said, this is not about charter schools. This is not about choice. This is about money. That is why 94, 95% of the money coming into the state to pass this is from out of state. 94 to 95%. The question is, do we want to create another level of government bureaucracy in Atlanta? And I say no. I'm going to count. I understand numbers. And I know that the pie is only so big. You cannot create an additional slice of that pie without reducing the other slices. So when my colleagues tell me that we will not cut funding to public education, I do not believe it. Because there is no other way. Now the question comes down to these three choices. When you drive down 400, there is a toll booth there. That is a broken promise from this place right here. Hope Scholarship, you went to college, you were in your second year, we cut the funding, that was a broken promise. The Constitution says that we have to fund public education. We do not do it. That is a broken promise. Do we want to allow this legislature to break another promise, especially on the backs of our children, the $1.6 million? The same people that were pushing the T-Squads, it's going to be the same type campaign, $2 million funding. And the same people are doing the same education part of it, and then advocacy. They just move from one project to the next. They're getting paid no matter what happens, but our children will suffer. I'm asking you to join me, join the PTA, join the school board, join our superintendent, join people all across the state, join parents that are saying no to amendment number 1 come this November. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm State Representative Michelle Hanson, and I've been representing DeKalb County for 22 years. All right. And I've taken a stand against this amendment. And my concern, I have to repeat every single thing that every single one of my colleagues has said here, but I'm not going to do that to you all. I support them. I support the stands we're taking. And the one other thing that I'm out there fighting for, and I know we're all fighting for, is to make our public schools all schools of excellence. Throughout our entire state, throughout all our counties, there should be a disparity from one end of a county to another end of a county in the quality education that's being given through our public schools. We need to keep the money in our public schools, and we need to make our public schools strong. So I am standing here with my colleagues opposing this amendment this coming November. Thank you.
Turner from the Georgia Federation of Teachers. The Charter School Amendment is not about supporting parents or student achievement. It is about granting the governor, lieutenant governor, and speaker unprecedented power over billions of local and state tax dollars we have created a new state agency, which will control billions of dollars of private interests. This agency will be appointed by the governor and accountable only to the governor. This agency will siphon precious tax dollars away from 1.7 million Georgia school children. It would support and back special schools for select people by exacerbating class and racial segregation. The Charter School Amendment is about who chooses and who loses. Children, not profits, are our priority. We agree with Georgia State School Superintendent Dr. John Barge. Until all of Georgia's are financed appropriately, and students and teachers are returned to the classroom for a full year, students and teachers are no longer furloughed. It is unconscionable to fund a new state agency or support the objectives of the Charter School Amendment. The money for special schools for profit schools will create a dual state school system and will cost our taxpayers billions of dollars. If we cannot trust the state with Medicare, transportation, or to use our dollars earmarked for foreclosed homes of our families and children, why would we trust the state with our children? All right. This amendment is not about cost. It's not about achievement or parental choice. It is about giving 5 people who will only be accountable to the governor free range, unprecedented control and power over billions of tax dollars. And it is about big profits for private interests on the backs of our children and at the expense of Georgia's taxpayers.